What do you do with those children once they're born into a bad household?
So now we've transitioned to, like, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Glad we're past the other part of the argument, okay? What do you do with them? You know there's twice as many people on the adoption waiting list than there are abortions every single year?
And they're still on the list. So you want to send a child into an orphanage?
Well,
is that what you want for a child? Is that a good life for a child?
No, I'm not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating to make it easier to be able to adopt, number one. Number two, there's no such thing as an unwanted child. Number three, it is never right to justify the mass elimination or termination of people under the guise of saying they're unwanted. That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today, guys, we're back here on this new video. Today, we're going to be checking out Charlie Kirk's greatest debates yet, defending the unborn. Okay, I'm sure this is about abortion. I call this man Charlie Kirk because he loves kicking us. Whew. Let's get right into today's video, guys.
I have another question.
Okay.
So, how many phases are in the menstrual cycle? Do you know?
Well, I'm not a woman, so enlighten me.
So there's 4 stages of the menstrual cycle, okay? Ovulation, follicular, I'm gonna go in order. Menstruation, follicular, ovulation, and the luteal phase. During which of those phases can a woman be pregnant? When can she get pregnant? Which of those phases?
Now, ovulation.
Ovulation.
And luteal, yes. So I already
could
know
tell
the
you
answer
from
to this
experience,
question.
but yeah.
So I know the answer to this question. Have you ever had a menstrual cycle before?
He's
No.
a man.
Okay, great. So knowing that, and you just saying, I don't know the phases of the menstrual cycle, which I don't blame you for being, you don't have that. So then, knowing this, you don't know everything about the female reproductive system, how are you going to make legislation to hurt women and women's rights?
Are men allowed to have opinions on abortion?
You can have opinions on abortion, but what I'm saying is, how are these men going to create this legislation?
Got it. So, well, men are allowed to have opinion on moral matters too, right?
Right.
Got it. So if I was a male OBGYN, is it okay for that person to make issues of legislation?
Well, they're educated. They understand. They are
okay.
educated on the female reproductive system, so they can.
So if I don't know everything intimately about the female reproductive system, sit down and shut up, you're a man.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You can have an opinion.
That's kind of what
It's
you're
all right
saying.
if you have an opinion. I'm saying it's not all right if you don't understand how the female reproductive system works.
Let's pop quiz. When does heartbeats begin for babies in utero?
Have you ever eaten an egg before? That's yes or no. Have you ever eaten an egg before?
Scrambled, yeah.
Okay, so would that be you scrambled a full chicken?
Well, hold on. You understand that it takes an egg to be fertilized?
Right.
Yeah.
But Your point,
So,
the whole
so,
point you're making,
well,
is
hold
that
on. So,
a
but no.
baby.
Since we're doing pop quiz on like human development, so when exactly do heart waves begin in utero?
You know that, but you don't know the 4
Hold on.
cycles.
No. So tell me when heartbeat.
don't know.
Okay, you don't know.
No.
So wait, hold on. So you're trying to say I know more about the woman reproductive system than you do?
I am a woman, so yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, but the point being is we could both go back and forth of like independent trivial facts when it comes to the woman's reproductive system. But here's something we all know, because God wrote this on the human heart of every individual, as it says in the book of Romans. We know deep down it's wrong to murder a baby.
You're not murdering a baby. It's
Okay.
not a baby.
Okay, well let's play this out. What is it then?
It is an embryo, which is not a baby.
Well, okay.
It's
so
developing.
it's a fertilized embryo.
Correct, which is not a baby.
So at what point does it become a baby?
When it is born.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't agree with abortions up to full-term
Wow.
abortions.
well, hold on. But you said it becomes a baby when it's born.
Yes.
Then why would you have abortion limits before it's born? I thought it's just an embryo. So embryo rights?
No, the embryo rights aren't a
But
thing.
then
because it's not
where
a
would you
person.
draw a line for abortion then, and why, and under what moral standard?
There are medical reasons not
No,
to have an
no,
abortion
no,
for
that's not the
full-term.
question. That's not
Yes,
the
it is.
question.
You just asked me why would I not have an abortion full-term for medical reasons.
Okay, so at 29 weeks, the baby is nearly fully developed, can recognize the mother's voice, has a heartbeat, has brain waves. Is it okay to abort that baby?
I don't, it's not okay, but you're going to say it's okay to have an abortion then. I don't understand what you're trying to say. It's not okay to have an abortion ever? How
Correct.
about, 3
Yes.
weeks in?
Correct. No
Right.
abortion. Correct.
Why?
Well, because your life started at conception.
It did not, though. It did not.
Well, hold on. So let's play this out. So who are you as an
Chromosomes.
individual? From your skin color to your eye color,
Your
to
DNA.
your likes, your dislikes, from your temperament to your everything.
I am not an embryo. I'm a person.
Hold on a second. But it started with something called
DNA.
deoxyribonucleic acid. And your own individual DNA started at the point of egg and sperm meeting. That's where your journey started. And so from that point in particular, life begins. Not at birth, not at first words, not at first steps, but when your DNA, which is who you actually are. You are your DNA. Every one of your DNA cells is coded XX or XY. It's coded with all of your unique characteristics and attributes that we believe God individually curated for the rest of your life. That doesn't happen at 8 weeks or 10 weeks. It happens at conception.
What happens if you need a medical abortion? If the mother will die if she does not get an abortion?
So
what's your stance on
the
that?
The only place where medical abortion is necessary is before 20 weeks, which is incredibly rare.
What if she will die? What if the mother
Hold
will
on a second.
die?
So let's take, for example, like this is a very important question. Let's say it's 27 weeks, okay? And the mother will die. Why shouldn't, you could agree, why don't we just have the baby delivered by cesarean section? You know what a cesarean section is, right?
Yes.
What is a cesarean section?
A C-section?
Yeah, why wouldn't we just put the baby out by C-section instead of terminating it?
Because if the mother will die,
No,
it's not safe to do that.
You remove the baby.
I understand.
Threat removed.
I know what a C-section
But
is.
it's actually safer than an abortion. So every time they say, this is for you guys, they say, oh, you need to have abortion for medical reasons, respond, then have a C-section.
What if you're not able
simple
to
as
have a
that.
C-section? What if you are on your deathbed, you need to have an abortion right now?
Well, again, but...
And it's illegal. You
guess
can't,
what?
so you have
Actually,
to die.
First and foremost, C-section is safer, C-section is quicker, and a C-section saves both lives. A C-section
The
takes...
baby is already dead, you just said.
No, but even... No. Hold on a second. You're saying if the baby's already dead, then it isn't even an abortion, right? Then you're talking about a removal of a carcass, which is a completely different medical operation.
So you're saying that's okay if you're having...
If you're if you're removing a carcass of a baby, that is not an
Like a
abortion.
steel bit.
By
It's not an
definition.
Same
abortion.
process.
No, it's completely different. During an abortion, they actually inject the spinal fluid with cyanide poisoning as the baby squirms and tries to find its mother, and it is gasping for air of life. Have you ever watched an abortion? It is
Have
one of
you?
the... Yeah, actually I have. And I encourage
too.
every human being to watch one to know what you are fighting against. Because when you see abortion, you will have your life will be changed. That we allow the massacre of 1.5 million babies a year under the guise of woman reproductive health. What do Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, and Tim Tebow have in common? All of their mothers were encouraged to end their pregnancies. When a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, she is often pressured to end her child's life. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those around her are telling her that her baby is not a life. That's where the Ministry of Preborn steps in. Preborn and their network of clinics offers compassionate, loving care to mothers and the support they need to help them choose life, including a free ultrasound. Once a mother hears their child's beautiful heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. If you consider yourself pro-life, it's time to join forces with Preborn. I'm a donor, and you should be too. Together, we can empower women to choose life, empower the truth of motherhood, transforms families and futures. One ultrasound is just $28, and a $140 gift will help to rescue 5 babies. When you donate monthly, you'll receive stories and pictures of lives you helped to save. Please dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby, or visit preborn.com/Charlie. That is preborn.com/Charlie, sponsored by Preborn. We are allowing babies every single year to just say, you know, we're going to discard them. Why? Oh, they're smaller. They're not humans. You're using dehumanizing language saying, oh, it's an embryo. No, that's a baby made in the image of God, deserving of protection.
True.
What do you do with those children once they're born into a bad household?
So now we've transitioned to, like, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Glad we're past the other part of the argument, okay? What do you do with them? You know there's twice as many people on the adoption waiting list than there are abortions every single year?
And they're still on the list. So you want to send a child into an orphanage?
Well,
is that what you want for a child? Is that a good life for a child?
No, I'm not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating to make it easier to be able to adopt, number one. Number two, there's no such thing as an unwanted child. Number three, it is never right to justify the mass elimination or termination of people under the guise of saying they're unwanted. That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
It's really not. I don't
It's
think
45 million babies.
Yeah.
It's
true.
nearly 8 times worse
True.
than the Holocaust.
The Holocaust.
What's
True.
the moral difference between a small baby in the womb and a grown Jew who was killed at Auschwitz? What's the moral difference? One
of
is
them
older.
is a person.
What
What?
species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human.
Homo
But
sapiens.
is it
Therefore,
an
they should have
embryo?
human rights.
No,
They should
She
have
does
human
prove it.
rights.
She does
I
say
do not
it.
agree.
Oh, so
does say
small
it.
humans no human rights, grown humans
It's
human
not
rights.
a small human. It's an embryo.
You just said it was a
said
human
it's
species.
It's not a
It
living
doesn't.
human child.
Wait, it's not a what?
It's not a child.
But
it's not a living child.
It has a heartbeat. It has
that
brain
does
waves.
not make it a child.
It's a
But-
child.
Tell me when it becomes
She's
a
making a
child.
fool of
then.
herself.
When it? I already told you when it is born.
Again, so under every other objective definition, you see, guys, how quickly the pro-abortion arguments fall apart with just the slightest questioning, but our position is one rooted not in feelings, not in personal autonomy, but one in biological consistency and reality. That your life had an agreed-upon starting point, that starting point should be protected and preserved. And the excuses given for abortion is dehumanization. Oh, it's just an embryo. Guys, that's just using different language to justify the massacre of something smaller than you. That's all
True.
that it is. So here are the big objections. Size. It's smaller than me, then I should be able to get rid of it. I'm 6'5". Should I be able to murder people smaller than me? Of course not. You don't believe that. Level of development. Oh, it's not as progressed as, this is your argument. It's not as progressed as we are, therefore we have rights over it. So my 10-month-old baby, why should I not be able to eliminate my 10-month-old baby?
I have another question for you. On the line of this, you will never be able to have an abortion, right? You will never be able to have an abortion. You will not, okay? That's a fact. Everyone knows that, okay? I'm not debating that at all.
Okay, make it quick. You can tell the audience is... Yeah, but go. Yeah.
If I were to be pregnant right now and forced to have a baby, that would ruin my life.
This is an important question. Hold on. Time out. So rape and incest are less than half of 1% of all abortions.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking if I just happen to be pregnant.
Oh, you don't happen to get pregnant. It's not like getting COVID.
I know how
okay?
it works.
That's
I know how it works.
it's
You don't
a
get the flu.
concept, child.
I know.
How about
But
this?
say
You
I got
take
pregnant.
responsibility for your orgasms and
What if
stop
that doesn't
eliminating
work?
people smaller than you.
Thank you.
So you're saying I should carry a baby and ruin my collegiate life?
How about this? Instead of saying ruin, first of all, babies are a blessing. Stop talking at them as if they're some
Thank
sort
you.
of annoyance.
I will have to drop out of college.
Number two, if you play certain games, you win certain prizes. If you're going to go have sex...
So you're saying
you
I
might-
should drop out of college to support my child
I'm
instead of supporting my life?
I'm saying if you're going to engage in coitus, in the practice of having children, you might end up with a baby. So know that. And guess what? You don't need to have sex before you get married. It's not like showering. It's not like eating.
Are you married?
Yes, with two
Yes.
beautiful children.
Wow, good for you.
I could tell you're not married.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, this was beautiful to watch. I love how Charlie handled her by dismantling her. It was very beautiful to watch. You see, whenever it comes to this abortion of it, saying like these pro-abortion people, is that we keep saying certain thing over. Like if you are able to have sex consensually, no one forced you to have sex voluntarily. You choose to have sex. There is a action. There's responsibility for your action. You have to take the responsibility for your action. You've just had sex, unprotected sex. There's responsibility. You have to face it. Be prepared that there might be a baby at hand that is coming. You get? Being pregnant is not a flu. You don't just boom. You're pregnant. You're not Mary. You are not the Virgin Mary that just boom. That God placed Jesus inside her. You are not a Virgin Mary. It's not a flu you just contact. You understand? So that lady right there, she's a very delusional girl. She's someone who don't take responsibility for her actions, and her entire statement makes no sense. Abortion, I see no difference between you telling me people aborting and the Holocaust, what's the difference? They are both the same thing because people are killing millions of babies every single year just in America. Let's enter UK. Let's enter France. Let's enter African countries. Let's enter Asians. Bro, it is massive. Like, millions of babies are dying every year through abortion. Let's just stay in America. In America alone, millions of babies are dying through abortion. It is very, very serious. It's something we ought to be talking about more. This is a barbaric act. If you tell me it's a very barbaric act, it's very bad. I have watched videos of abortion while I was in high school. That single video alone changed my entire life and my entire perspective about abortion. It is a very barbaric act. It is very terrible. The way they are killing babies and disposing them as if they are nothing, it is horrifying to watch. I'm telling you the gospel, the truth. It is very horrifying to watch. So whenever I see people coming out and say, my body, my choice, I have the right to abort, I have the right to blah, 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 you are talking bullshit. If you voluntarily and willingly accept to have a unprotected sex, be ready for your action, for your consequences. Every consequence, there's an action for it. Your consequence, what you have done, be ready to face the responsibility. Most of all these youths, most of all this Gen Z, they always try to avoid. They always try to avoid responsibility. They always try to shield themselves away from responsibility. So if I'm to get pregnant now, I'm going to drop out from college. But you gladly and willingly open your leg for a dude to insert his sperm. At that moment, there was a mating, and the DNA was formed. So what the hell are you saying? You have to face the responsibility for your actions because you choose unprotected sex. Even if you take post-pill, sometimes post-pill do not work, but your actions you have made already, you have to be ready to face the consequences. It's as simple as that. You can't avoid it. You can't dodge it. I love how Charlie handled the students. Like, from her saying it's an embryo, she started saying it's a human. Like, you notice this abortion debates every time. These people do not know what they're talking about. They just want to support a narrative. Comment down below, think about this video, subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up. I love how the crowd actually supported Charlie. I'm rooting for this, man. I really love his videos. Subscribe to our channel, guys. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video as many as you can, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.